All right. It's starting to become often occurrence here where I'm not the only one in the parking lot. There's actually like another car parked here, which is no biggie. They got their own thing going on, and I got my own thing going on over here. And even if I don't think anyone would ever just like kind of walk up towards me, and let me make sure my doors are locked. I don't think anyone would ever like walk up to me and like ask me what I'm doing, unless it's a cop. I kind of make the joke a lot in these videos that a cop would pull up here and like question me or whatever and ask me if I'm doing drugs or something like that. Officer, no, I'm not doing drugs. I'm over here just creating YouTube videos. But anyways, I was at work. Like, if you see me wearing this outfit, you can just assume that I was probably at work, because this is like my going to work outfit. This is not what I wear while I'm at work, but this is kind of like what I pull up to work wearing. So if you see me wearing this outfit, you can assume that I was at work. I think it's a nice outfit. It feels comfortable, but it's really just what I wear to go to work. But I don't really have any direction that I'm going with this particular video. I kind of just want to be like an open book, and then whatever I say flows out. I do have like journal entries and note entries where I have like different ideas or different topics that I kind of want to touch on in these videos. But this one is just kind of me just freestyling. And as I'm driving to this lot that I'm parked in, I figured one of the things that I kind of want to touch on is purpose. And I kind of want to open up to my own experience. I want to open up about my own experience in this particular video. I'm going to talk about this again in other videos for sure. Sorry. I'm going to definitely talk about this in other videos for sure. But I kind of want this video here to kind of be like almost like my practice. Me just kind of touching on the topic, and then over time I'll eventually open up more about it. But not only do I want to talk about purpose in this video, but I also want to talk about a peculiar occurrence that has repeated throughout my lifetime. And it's interesting. It's not really an occurrence that is commonly talked about. And there was even periods of times through history where even talking about this may be like, oh, are you doing black magic? Are you doing like wizard craft? Like, should we toss you into the river with concrete blocks on your legs so you can drown? And but it's nothing strange. It's more so like in the past there have been times where I've had visions. I don't know. And you can take that however you want to take that. It's kind of difficult because if you've never experienced it, you think it's a full of like baloney and BS, and you try to make sense of something that you don't quite understand, and that's totally okay. I'm not here to really say something that is gonna make you understand it. It's just kind of like me putting it out there, and you take it however you want to take it, whether you believe it or not. I know what I experienced, and I know what I've experienced time and time again. And there really isn't an exact word that I can use that sort of captures it without making it sound like something full of shit or whatever. But visions is something that I can just use because it's a word that you hear and you'll be like, okay, I can kind of understand maybe. But it isn't even so much that I can really call, like, if I want to boil it down to something more believable, we can talk about the astral plane. And the astral plane, there was a time when I was in college, which, by the way, I didn't finish college, which is another thing I want to talk about in one of these videos, why I didn't finish college. And I know college is a very scary thing. It's a very complex thing. Some people kind of just dive into college and then they graduate with a degree. And some people graduate with a degree that maybe they just kind of just did for the sake of doing it. Or maybe it's something that really does align with something that they want to pursue. It can go, anything is possible. And maybe there's people out there that graduate with a degree for the sake of graduating with a degree, and the degree ends up helping them somehow. I'm not in no means knocking college. It simply just wasn't something for me. And maybe it's something for me later down the road, but it certainly wasn't something for me during that period of time in my life. It just really wasn't. But the thing I want to talk about with visions, and not even just visions, but also synchronicities. I'll start with the synchronicity. So during my time in high school, it was really a time that I felt purposeless. And it was kind of interesting, and it was also difficult because coming from a family where success kind of really depended on having a degree, having a paper written certification saying that you went to school for this amount of time and you succeeded and you did well and you graduated and this and that. It was kind of interesting to find myself in a spot where I didn't feel aligned with that whatsoever. And it can be easy for someone to assume that what I was going through was me just simply being ignorant, me not caring, me not giving a fuck about, I just spat, I'm sorry. Me not giving a fuck about school, education, and that was never really the case. I do really believe that I am interested in knowledge. I am. But you see, the thing is, for me, I was looking at things that I could major in college, and the only thing that really ever attracted me was journalism. But even the thing then for journalism was like, do I really want to be a journalist and just report news? Now here, like, don't get me wrong. I think that there are definitely some cool journalists out there. I don't know any by name, forgive me. But I do know that there are people out there that really report on some things that really matter. And not to say that any other thing, it's not to say that any other thing being reported out there is something that doesn't matter. Everything matters, you know. Everyone has their things that they care about. Like, for instance, I keep up with the NBA. And there's definitely some journalists out there that have published some things about the NBA that I'll take interest in because I like keeping up with the NBA. I don't have a team that I like can say that I support, but I do like the Los Angeles Lakers, not because LeBron James, like, he's a whole meme, like, but it's not to say that I support an exact team, but I do like to follow legacy. I do like to follow. There's a car backing up over here, and I think they were like shining their light into my car to see what I was doing. I don't know. But I think they're looking into my car now. It's not a cop, it's just a random person, and I think they're doing a K-turn, but they're doing it quite oddly, and like they're leaving now, but they're turning really, actually they're not looking at me at all. They're just going really slow. I don't know if he just smoked some marijuana or something like that, but he was doing that K-turn awfully slow. I don't know if they were being nosy or if they're high or something, but it is what it is. You know, they got their own thing going on. But Los Angeles Lakers, I like keeping up with them because they have legacy. You know, they've got multiple championships, they have story, and everything within, I wouldn't say every legacy has something corrupt, but I mean, it's a business at the end of the day. I'm sure that they've done some questionable things, but it's none of my business. I'm not, see, again, I don't know. Point is, during high school, it was a time that I felt purposeless, and I didn't really know what I was going to do after high school. You know, I would look at other people that I would know, I would look at other students, and they seemed to have an idea in mind of what they wanted to pursue. And I think at that time, not all of them, but there is a pressure, and it's not something that I feel like I can ignore, but there is a pressure to want to do the things like go to college, because you feel pressure from your surroundings, and those surroundings can appear in different ways. For me personally, my pressure was coming from my mother, and I don't say this in a way, again, I love my mom. I love her so deeply. Even the thought of losing my parents really makes me break down. I've had those thoughts time and time again through years, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing my mom or anything like that. I'm not. It's a very human thing to want your son, to want your child to succeed. And it just so happens that in the world that we live in, especially in the U.S., maybe in other countries too, but I can only speak to the U.S. because that's the country I reside in right now. Success is kind of measured by what you pursue in college and what you make of what you pursued after college, where you land yourself in like a company or whatever. That's how success is measured in mainstream, right? I can't give you a definition of how I measure success. I kind of can. At least personally for me, it feels like I can measure my own success by having lived a life that I feel like I didn't abandon what's true to me. Simply put, for me, and this is not something that I could maybe talk about back then because, like I said, during high school, I really did feel purposeless. But now I sort of know what it is that I want to do. And it's a path that I really have to carve out myself. And these YouTube videos is sort of me trying to initiate the process of really me carving out my own path. I by no means am perfect. And it's not to say that later in my life that I will be perfect. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. But I certainly now know that there is something that I want to do. And it took time to figure that out. And it's not that I sat down in my room and really thought deeply about what it was that I wanted to do. If you play the game of life with strictly just using your mind, it's only going to get you so far. It's really only going to get you so far. And it's complicated because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the ability of our mind and our thoughts either. But the mind is going to play both sides. It's going to play all sides, actually. It's going to play the side of being a supporter, and it's also going to play the side of being your biggest hater. So don't depend solely on just your mind. Unless you have a mastermind, I don't know. Anything is possible, once again. But for me, what you truly feel is your purpose is going to be revealed to you probably in a gut feeling. And it may be difficult because honestly, like, even your gut feeling, for me, that might be a little bit complicated to really sort of understand. So the way that I could put it is, if you feel something so deeply, consider it. Consider that may be a part of the reason why you're here. For me, in these woods behind me that you probably can't really see because it's dark out, which I want to get better at recording these videos like while there's sun out. But as of now, I mean, I'm really only like about a month into making these videos. No, actually less than a month. So over time, there's only like, as of this moment, I think there's only 4, maybe 5 videos published on my channel. I have a few more that are coming out that are still, like, today is April 25th. By the time that this video is uploaded, it's probably going to be sometime in May. So at some point in between, like the middle of May, it'll be a full month since I've initiated this process of uploading videos. But let me get back to what I was talking about. In these woods behind me, it wasn't that long ago, like maybe a month ago, I felt something very deeply. And it was something that I just couldn't help but to feel so deeply that it caused me to cry. It really did. And what I felt, there was sort of like a thought that was attached to it. And it was really just me thinking. The thought that arose with it was a thought that basically interpreted what I was feeling. At least that's how I view it as. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I doubt it, though, because literally the thought itself was something that was making me just cry. And the thought simply just was telling me that what I was feeling it was something of huge significance to me, and I simply just couldn't ignore it. And it was really just the impact that I can have through my presence. That's sort of what it boils down to, but it's something deeper than that. As a kid, I would mention it here and there. I mean, there was different things that I said that I wanted to do or that I wanted to become when I was growing up. I said that I wanted to be a heart surgeon, a doctor. When I was a really small kid, when I was really young, a young boy, I said that I wanted to be a cop. But there was one thing that really stuck with me, and that's that I want to be an author. And what I felt in these woods was me thinking that something that I could say, something that I could write, could have an impact so deeply, so profound on somebody else that they couldn't help but also feel what I felt. The need to cry. The need to feel deeply. And the need to understand that they're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And the reason I say that is because there were times where I really did feel like I was purposeless. Like I couldn't become anything. Like I couldn't be anything. That everybody else had life figured out, and that I simply couldn't have life figured out. And some of us are really given that path, and it can be very difficult to deal with when you see other people and you figure or you think that they've got life all figured out. And it's funny because I'm sure that some people probably see me and they think, oh, he's a really calm and grounded person. He seems to have life figured out. And what they don't see are the nights that I would spend crying, that I would spend deeply thinking about me really being purposeless. Now, I don't feel purposeless anymore. And it's going to be a very interesting life that I live. Because I know for everybody, and I'm not exempt from this either, but life really is sort of like a cosmic play. And sometimes life is going to prescribe you certain situations, but those situations that they're prescribed to you, you best believe that they are there to really teach you something. If you're here and you think that you're not here to learn something from the things that happen in life that are outside of your control, that make you really deal with some stupid shit, like, there's something to learn from these experiences. There definitely are. I mean, when I had my heartbreak, it opened me up in ways that I didn't think I could be opened up. I was at a point where I really didn't feel like I could have someone that I loved. And when I found myself then having that, and then that was stripped away, that opened me up like nothing ever did ever before. Like, that was the one thing that opened me up. And it was tough. Just as life is sometimes. Life can be very, very tough. But those things are really there to teach you something. And sometimes in life, when you feel like you've got things figured out, life will literally just come back and be like, hold up now. You thought you had it figured out, now take this. Oh, there's some cop cars. One of them had their lights on. You might have seen that in the background. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Holy smokes, yeah, I should wrap it up. I want to get better at making these videos a little bit more concise, but I don't know. It's also fun kind of being able to yap for this long and kind of just let out whatever it is I'm thinking. And I noticed that through these videos, I also kind of go off on like little side tangents, and I never really maybe finish one part of what I'm saying. But I mean, if I keep this up and continue to upload videos, I'll have 1,000 videos or something like that. Hundreds of videos. And eventually, through these videos, there will be a collection of messages that really do mean something. And if they don't mean anything to anybody else, they really mean something to me. And that's all that matters. And that's how you should view some of the things that you deal with too. It's completely okay if nobody sees you. See yourself first. And then maybe, over time, people will see you too. Acknowledge your gifts. Acknowledge how beautiful you are. And acknowledge that you are really here to learn, to experience life, and to achieve your dreams, because you can do that. You can certainly do that. So, now go enjoy your life. And I really do mean that. That's it.